Hey there friends, I hope all of you are having an utterly fantastic day. I'm hanging out in Grayton Beach today and I'm about to record probably the coolest video I've ever recorded to send to you guys. I'm hanging out in Grayton Beach today because I want to show y'all the Grayton house. Now for those of you who've been following along with me for a while now, back in 2022, you know that I handled the marketing on the renovation of the Grayton house. This is a very, very historic home. If you know anything about the history of 30A, this is the original home of 30A. A lot of the reason 30A exists as the way it does today is because this house was built back in 1895. So I was so excited to see it come back on the market. I was excited to see whatever changes the new owners had made in the last 4 years and come bring it to you guys. So without further ado, after 4 years, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Let's go check out the Grayton house. So when you come up to 10 Hotz Avenue, and I'll throw the listing information up here, as of date of recording, listed for 10.75. You come up to these beautiful gates and it's kind of impossible not to talk about all the stories, but we're gonna save it. We're gonna save it. But just remember what these look like. That beautiful diamond pattern and this old pine. So coming up into this entryway that snakes up to the pool deck. Oh, so cool. Gosh, I miss coming here. Outdoor fireplace, seating area, and that iconic pool that was added with the windows out. Outdoor kitchen with the little stained glass windows in the back. These iconic wraparound porches. Looks like they're doing some renovations next door. All right guys, we've seen the outside of the house naturally, visually stunning. Just from the street, it's absolutely visually stunning with its alignment on Hotz Avenue to Funiac Street, its unobstructed views of the Dune Lakes and the Gulf and the dunes themselves. I mean, this house is just so beautiful and unique in and of itself. Even if it was a new construction home, it would be so unique and beautiful in and of itself. But the history of the home is what makes it so unique and so exciting to be a part of. It's the same reason I was excited 4 years ago to be a part of the remodel. So let's talk about it. Before we even go inside, let's talk about the story of this house really quick. This is the original homestead of Grayton Beach. It was purchased in 1893 by Army Major Charles T. Gray, G-R-A-Y, the namesake of Grayton Beach. This is the original community of 30A. Everything that you know about 30A emanated from the fact that this property was developed and then this area was developed around it. For about 20-something years, it was used as a boarding house for a lumber mill just north of here. The home was actually constructed with lumber from that lumber mill, so locally sourced, very old, dense pine, as the saying goes. They don't build them like they used to. And I mean, some of these timbers that were salvaged during the renovation project, just unbelievably just thick and dense. And I mean, we counted rings. I believe the rings were in excess of 125 years old. So much thought was put into the renovation. Daniel Brock was the contractor that handled the remodel back in 2022, and he was absolutely adamant about maintaining the integrity of the story and the history of this home because it means so much to the local community. It means so much to the story of 30A, and we wanted to preserve that as much as possible. So just on the outside, like I mentioned, those gates when we walked through with those diamond patterns, those gates were made from the original floor joist of the original house. The original structure is still standing, but the salvage pieces that were not water damaged, that were salvageable, were reused as much as possible. And we can see that just outside before we even step foot in the house, those gates, and that diamond pattern, we'll get to that a little bit later here, but that diamond pattern is part of the original design of the home. And we can see that out here in the pool deck, the mantle over the fireplace, that salvaged lumber from the original property. All the wall paneling behind me here, this great table in this outdoor kitchen space, the paneling around the cabinetry, all of this is salvaged wood from the original property. Now, it didn't take long for this house to start accruing stories. And what's really cool about this house is it's equal parts historical fact, equal parts tall tales, equal parts semi-truths, and this house has so many stories attached to it. when it was a boarding house during Prohibition era, it's rumored that Al Capone and his men used this house to run liquor to Pensacola, that they'd run it off the beach on a boat and they'd run it down the shore to Pensacola. And there's a room in this house named for that very thing. We have a Capone room in this house. And I remember jokingly saying during the construction that maybe we would put some bullet holes in the walls to give it some authenticity. But it's just really cool that there's some stories attached to that. There's also a ghost story attached to this house. When it was a hotel, there was supposedly a fisherman and his wife that stayed here. And the fisherman went out to sea one day and never returned. And the wife never left. And every night she would put a candle out in the window to signal his return. And it's rumored that on New Year's Eve, up in the top of the cupola, if I'm pronouncing that right, the cupola, that the light would go, you'd see the light go off. You'd see the widow's ghost beckoning her husband back to the shore. So you can imagine over 125 plus years, the stories that accrued over time. And then during World War II, I mean, so many people don't even know this. When you drive down to Funiac Street and you see Grayton Beach written in big, bold font letters on the road right there, that's because it's a navigational beacon. Grayton Beach had a navigational beacon. And during World War II, this house was actually commissioned by the U.S. Coast Guard. It was a horseback cavalry that rode up and down the beach looking for German U-boats. And they would do aerial photography, and they actually had a dark room that they set up underneath the stairwell inside the house. And when we were doing the remodel, some of the guys, when they're pulling the paneling off the wall, they found where some of those officers during World War II had signed the inside of the walls, where they had made that makeshift darkroom to develop the pictures. So just really cool stuff. And even, I'll show you something really quick. This is a fun thing. I'm not even thinking about it while I'm recording, but the brand new beach access and community center that Grayton Beach just erected right here. You see that roof line right there, that very unique roof structure, sort of this like half-finished pyramid. Well, this design is not accidental. It was drawn inspiration from when the Coast Guard was here, because they erected a navigational beacon for helicopter and airplane pilots to know where they were going, know where they were. So the community, when they developed that center, they drew inspiration from that design. So just so much history in this house, and we'll touch on some more of it as we walk through, but it is super hot out here. It is super humid. I am dying to get inside. So without further ado, let's go inside. Let's go see the house. Okay, so coming up to this front entry door here, you'll see that diamond pattern again that I was mentioning, and this was the original design on the original door of the house. So when they redesigned the house, they wanted to use the original door, but they couldn't because the glass didn't meet code. It didn't meet the same frame size that they were wanting to use. So they had to construct a custom door, and the door company did not do this. The contractor's son is actually a very skilled carpenter, and he created all of these individual pieces to recreate the inlay that was on that original front door. So just something that was very, very detailed, something that took a lot of time and skill, but they were just so meticulous about maintaining that design element. And actually, I'm remembering, up in the eaves of the house, you'll notice the hardy plank has that same diamond pattern, and that was done intentionally. It does not come from the factory that way. They intentionally cut those that way so that they could tie in that diamond pattern from the front door and down to that entry gate. And one more thing I want to mention, this is such a minor thing, but the contractor, Daniel, was so adamant and so passionate about maintaining the integrity of the historical aspects of this home that something as simple as the board and batten side, which many people are very familiar with. Board and batten siding is very ubiquitous, especially out here. But historically, board and batten was created because you were just using random scrap size of wood. Nowadays it's done every 16 inches, so it's nice and uniform, but historically you would just have random size pieces with the batten strip over the joint. So even though we're in a modern day where we can recreate and have a nice uniform finish, he intentionally cut random sizes so that the exterior of the house would still maintain that old appearance of how board and batten even came about in the first place. Let's go look inside the house. Oh gosh, it's good to be back in here. And the AC feels amazing. Okay, so this is a marble countertop. Absolutely beautiful. Gosh, this house, they've made some changes. They've made a few changes, but overall still looks absolutely amazing. So just so you know, when we walk in right here, this is not the original house. This wall right here, where this corner is, that way is the original structure. So here is the original house, and there's the original fireplace from the 30s, actually. That was added in the 30s, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it looks like they swapped out the refrigerators. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful kitchen. Fisher and Paykel range and oven. Okay, so here's the stairwell that I'd mentioned outside. Underneath right here, in this little cubby, is where the darkroom was, where during World War II the Coast Guard would develop their photos. This is just their makeshift spot, and that's actually why Daniel put this little nautical light in here as like a little homage to the Coast Guard's occupation in here. Another fun fact inside of here, when they were taking the panels off the inside of the walls, they actually found the water line from when this house flooded back in the 1920s, which is actually how this house earned the name the Washaway. A lot of the locals around here know it as the Washaway. But when they pulled those panels off and they found the water line, they didn't want to lose the story of that because it's how it's known. So he had this custom chair rail created in the shape of a wave to just quietly nod to the story of when this house was lifted off of its foundation and floated down the street. Now, a fun fact about that, the locals at the time during the 20s, the way that they got the house back was they used mules and logs. It actually lifted the house off its foundation where it sits right now, and it floated, I would say about a couple hundred feet that way down Hotz Avenue towards the Dune Lake, and the locals got together and the house maintained its structural integrity, and they were able to get it up on logs and pull it back into place with donkeys. Super resourceful. But coming over here to the main living area, this fireplace here has a really cool story as well. So in the 30s, this is when the Wickersham family actually owned the house. You'll notice that these are all granite stones. And if you know anything about the geology of our area, you know that we don't have any granite quarries anywhere around here. Well, come to find out that Mr. Wickersham actually drove all the way to Pensacola to pick up these granite stones just so that they could have a stone fireplace. And you can imagine, you know, from where we are nowadays, that drive would take about an hour and 45 minutes. So you can imagine in the 30s how dedicated he had to have been to drive all the way to Pensacola to pick up these granite stones. And then furthermore, where in the world did the granite come from? Because there's no granite quarries in Pensacola either. But it's just this cool little story in this historical piece, this nearly 100-year-old fireplace at this point. You can actually see they have some of the old photos. This is what it looked like when it was first constructed. This is when it was just a boarding house in the early 20th century. And then over the years, it changed face a little bit. Porch got wrapped in. It eventually got lifted up on pilings. But it's undergone a lot of changes to get where it's at now. All right, and this is the master suite. Nearly every room in this house has Gulf views. Upstairs. Alright, so again, it's one of those examples. This entire ceiling right here is all reclaimed from the original structure. Beautiful cypress. And then over here is the McCaskill room, named after Robert E. Lee McCaskill, who built the house. And this lumber, this wood right here, is from his mill, which is why this room got his namesake. And these little shelves, these little bedside shelves, are reclaimed lumber from the original structure. And then in the bathrooms, each bathroom's designed a little bit differently, but they wanted the feel to be the same. They actually got antique furniture right here, and then retrofit the top to accommodate the sinks. So this is actual vintage furniture converted into a vanity. And then over on this side is the Capone room, from the tall tale of Al Capone and his men supposedly staying here during Prohibition and running their booze off the beach. Pop out onto the porch out here. And all of this that you see is state-owned property, so it'll never be more than what it is right now. Just dunes, gulf, and then the dune lake in the background there. I love how deep these porches are. Like, you could fit a king-size bed on this porch and still walk around it. There's so much beautiful outdoor living space. The breeze is constant. Beautiful day. The Gulf is showing off today too. All right, now let's go look at the rest of the house. Our second floor laundry room, and then the upstairs master suite, which personally I like better. A little bit smaller bathroom, but the view definitely arguably better. Over on this side, we've got the bunk room. Whole home does have an elevator, by the way. It goes all the way down to the garage. Built-in bunk beds. And even the kids get a peekaboo view. There's a sort of flex recreation space that bridges in between the main house over here and then the carriage house on this side. So big, beautiful. This is the cupola up top. This is where supposedly the widow would put her candle to call her husband back home from sea. Beautiful room in here. And you can see there's another tiny little balcony out here overlooking the pool deck. And then into the carriage house. Got some it's got some upstairs living space. Little door out to that balcony right there. And then yet another balcony. This house has so much outdoor living space, it's unbelievable. And this just gives you a straight shot right down Hotz Avenue. You can see the dune lake all the way in the back there. You'll see that diamond pattern I was talking about downstairs. Super tall ceilings in this upstairs bedroom. And then the kitchen living area of the carriage house. Full kitchen, everything you need down here. Really, really nice little space. And then there is in fact a second bedroom in this carriage house. And I think this is the only room that might not have a view of the Gulf. Okay, so now we're done inside the main house, but we're still not done. Now we're gonna head back downstairs because there's a really cool entertainment space. So if you come through the garage right here, here's the original refrigerator and freezer that was upstairs in the kitchen. They moved it down here, but these panels on the front are the actual flooring from the second floor of the original home. So again, repurposing that old wood. So this garage might surprise people. It goes way back. Plenty of room for storage. Oh cool, they put together a little historical board. Some of the history of the house. That's really cool. Some old artwork. Wow, that's neat. This is for the elevator, so really good. Obviously, you're coming here, unload all your luggage, load it into the elevator, take it whatever floor you need to go. Down here is what is known as Daniel's Den, and it is called Daniel's Den because Daniel Brock, the contractor, just wanted to throw something a little extra before we finish the project. So again, one of the old doors from the house, diamond pattern. Let's see what's on the other side. Dang. So yes, you have 1,500 square feet of entertainment space down here. Multiple TVs, pool table, ping pong, swinging chairs, air hockey, bar, and there's an outdoor bathroom as well. So when you come up off the beach, you can slide in through this little secret door right here and then come into the bathroom. And look how cool this is. Look how cool. So this is some of the old doors that they repurposed, and now they live in here. Kramer up there over the toilet. That's funny. My father-in-law will appreciate that. But look how cool this shower is. Look at this shower door. When have you ever seen a shower door that looks like that? Never. You haven't. Super, super cool. Come over here, rinse your sand off, hose off, come hang out. And then if you look up above, All of these doors with their fancy LED strips are all original doors from the house that got repurposed. So they still got to have a second life down here. And then all these poles, Daniel wanted to wrap them in old vintage magazine clippings. So like we got Princess Leia with Jabba, James Bond, Life magazine, playbills from plays, the Beatles, Bob Dylan. Just a really, really cool spot down here. But there you have it, friends. This is the Grayton House. This is what has become of the original homestead of Grayton Beach and arguably the entire 30A corridor. This is the life that it now lives. This is a legacy home. And who is this home for? That is a great question I will probably get asked. I'm not going to lie to you. This house is not the type of house that you would buy to generate a return financially. Not to say that it will not appreciate over time. Being in its location, there's a very strong chance that's going to be the case. But this is a legacy home. This is a home that an entire family can gather together. This is a home that can be leveraged for use for retreats or for your church or for your friends. This is a place where the returns aren't tangible. The returns are made in memories and experiences and generational legacy. This is who this home is for. This home is built for life experience and celebrating the culture of this area, honestly. Grayton Beach is so unique. If you're familiar with the 30A area, you know that 30A, each town has its own little feel, and Grayton Beach is just kind of this, it's just this rooted spot, just dead center rooted spot on 30A that just still feels old Florida. It still has this strong local culture, and this house kind of celebrates that. I will always give Daniel, the contractor, credit for how much love and care he put into this project, because it still shows 4 years later, even despite some of the changes that were made. You can still feel the heart that was in this, and it's exciting to see it back on the market. I pray whoever the next owner is loves it and cherishes it as much as I do, as much as so many people that I know in my circle love and cherish it as well. So if you have any questions about the house, I've got links down below in the description. Feel free to check them out. Sign up for my email newsletter, like, subscribe, whatever suits you best. I'd love to see you comment down below as well. Let me know where you'd like me to go next. But I hope all of you are doing well. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you soon. God bless. Take care.